You've probably heard of The Little Prince, right? Maybe you think it's just a sweet little kid's book, something you read once in school and then kind of forgot about. But what if I told you that's completely missing the point. This book isn't really for children. It's for us, for the grown-ups. It's a guide to remembering all the important stuff we've forgotten. So let's dive in and see if we can learn to see the world with fresh eyes again.
All right, so our story kicks off in a pretty surprising place. It's not actually with the prince. It starts with our narrator, a pilot and a drawing he made when he was just a little kid. And this one drawing, well, it became a kind of test for all the grown-ups he knew. A test that you'll see every single one of them failed.
So he'd show them this picture, right? And what do you think they said? Every single time, they'd go, "Oh, a hat, how nice." But here's the thing. It wasn't a hat at all. It was a boa constrictor digesting an entire elephant. The grown-ups, they just couldn't see it. They'd lost their imagination. They could only see the outside of things, not what was really going on inside. And right there, that's the core message of the whole book, the big warning sign. It's saying that as we grow up, we tend to lose our real vision. We start seeing hats instead of elephants. We see numbers and figures, but we miss the meaning behind them. This whole story is basically a promise to help us learn how to see again. But this time, not just with our eyes, but with our hearts.
Okay, so now let's actually meet the prince. His journey through space, you might think it's some grand adventure, right? But it's not. It actually comes from a place of real pain, from a broken heart, all because of a complicated, misunderstood love for a single flower on his tiny little planet.
This flower, his rose, she was just stunningly beautiful, but boy, was she proud. She was always demanding things, a special glass dome to keep the drafts away, a screen to protect her from tigers that didn't even exist on his tiny planet. And the prince, he was so in love but so confused, he just did everything she asked. But their misunderstandings just kept piling up until he felt he had no choice but to leave. He had to go find out why his heart ached so much. And this is where his journey gets really interesting. He starts hopping from one tiny planet to another, and on each one, there's just one single adult living there. And each of these characters, they're like these perfect, sad little snapshots of what happens to us when we forget what's really, truly important in life. So first up, he meets this king, and this guy claims he rules everything. The sun, the moon, the whole universe. The catch? He only gives orders that he knows will be obeyed. Like ordering the sun to set right around sunset. It's such a brilliant take on our grown-up obsession with the illusion of control, right? Chasing titles and power but having zero real connection to anything or anyone. Then he lands on another planet and meets the vain man. All this guy wants is applause. He literally tells the prince, "Clap for me so he can take a bow." Think about it. He's living for the likes, for the praise, for the admiration, but inside he's totally empty. He's mixed up being admired with being loved, and it's just a hollow performance. And then you've got the businessman. This guy is just endlessly counting stars. Why? Because he says he owns them. He writes down the number, locks it away in a bank, but he never once actually stops to look at them, to appreciate their beauty. It's such a powerful point. You can't really own something you don't love. He's got all the numbers, but he's completely bankrupt when it comes to joy and wonder. So after meeting all these lonely, misguided grown-ups, the prince finally makes it to Earth. And this is where his heartbreak just hits an all-time low. But it's right here, in this moment of total despair, that he's about to learn the single most important secret in the entire book. Imagine this. He's walking along and suddenly he finds a garden, just overflowing with thousands and thousands of roses. And they all look exactly like his rose. He's just shattered. Remember, his flower told him she was one of a kind, the only one in the whole universe. He just lies down in the grass and weeps because he suddenly feels like his incredible special love was, just ordinary. And it's right then that a fox appears. The fox says something strange. "I can't play with you. I am not tamed." And he has to explain what that means. To tame, he says, is to create a bond. It's not something that just happens. It's a process. You invest time, you show care, you build a relationship. And through that, you become totally unique to each other, irreplaceable. This is when the fox shares his incredible secret. It's got two parts. Here's the first. It is only with the heart that one can see clearly. Just let that sink in for a second. This is the answer to that drawing from the beginning, isn't it?
You can't see the elephant inside the snake with your eyes. You have to feel it to understand it with your heart. And then comes the second part, which is just as crucial. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Think about it. Love, friendship, memories, connection, all the stuff that actually makes life worth living, you can't see it. You can't count it or put it in a bank. You can only feel it. And right then, it's like a light bulb goes on for the little prince. He finally gets it. His rose might look like all those other thousands of roses, but she is completely unique to him. And why? Because she's the one he watered every day, the one he protected with that glass dome, the one he listened to, even when she was complaining. The time he spent with her, that's what makes her special. He tamed her. This realization just changes everything. The prince's quest is over. He's found his answer, and he knows he has to go home. Now, his departure might seem sad, but it's not really a tragic ending. It's actually the book's final, beautiful lesson about love, about loss, and what it means to be responsible for someone.
So he tells the pilot that his body is just like a shell. It's too heavy to take back with him on this long journey home. So he makes a plan with a snake to bite him. And it's really important to understand this. It's not about death. It's about letting go of the physical shell so his spirit can be light enough to travel back to his planet, back to his rose who needs him.
But before he goes, he leaves the pilot one last gift. And of course, it's an invisible one. He says, from now on, when you look up at the stars, you'll know that I'm up there on one of them. And since I'll be laughing on my star, it will sound to you as if all the stars are laughing. Wow, just think about that. The memory of love can transform this vast, silent universe into a place that's just filled with joy and laughter.
And that brings us right to the heart of it all, doesn't it? The big question that the book leaves you with. After this whole journey, the heartbreak, learning the fox's secret, what are we supposed to take away from it all? What do we do with this beautiful, simple truth?
Well, here is the answer. This is the whole point. You become responsible, forever, for what you have tamed. Every connection we make, every friend we care for, every relationship we build, that becomes our responsibility. It's this beautiful and, yeah, kind of heavy, but absolutely essential truth. And that right there, that's not a lesson for a child. That's a lesson for a lifetime.